Hello friends, welcome back to the 12th video of the 12th physics animation series of physics and animation. Today, we will discuss the equation and derivation of the electric field created by a dipole. So let's get started. In the 10th video of this series, we learned that a dipole generates a beautiful electric field around it, which is not radially symmetric like that of a point charge. Therefore, for a dipole, the equation for electric field intensity should be different. In today's video, we will understand this concept. First, let's understand the intensity of electric field along the axis of a dipole, which is also known as the axial position. As we have considered in previous videos, a dipole consists of two equal and opposite charges separated by a distance L from its center. So let's assume that we have placed a positive test charge at point M on the axial position at distance x from the center of dipole O, and we know that the electric field intensity created by a point charge at any point is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught multiplied by the source charge q divided by the square of the distance r between the source charge and the point M. For simplicity, let's consider the constant value 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught as k. Therefore, our equation simplifies to kq by r square. Now, if we talk about the electric field at a distance x from the dipole, the magnitude of the electric field intensity due to the positive charge will be equal to kq divided by the square of the distance between the positive charge and point M. Here the distance r can be expressed as x minus L. Similarly, the magnitude of the electric field intensity due to the negative charge at point M will be equal to kq divided by the square of the distance between the negative charge and point M. In this case, the distance r can be written as x plus L. So, now we have two equations. The first equation represents the electric field intensity at point M due to the positive charge, which is equal to kq divided by x minus L square. And the second equation represents the electric field intensity at point M due to the negative charge, which is equal to kq divided by x plus L square. As we know, these two electric fields cannot exist at the same point simultaneously. Therefore, we need to calculate the net effect of the electric field at point M. Let's analyze the situation at point M. If we discuss the electric field at point M due to the positive charge, we know that it will be directed radially outward because point M is closer to positive charge, resulting in a stronger electric field intensity compared to that caused by a negative charge. We will represent this stronger intensity with a bigger arrow. Similarly, if we talk about the electric field at point M due to a negative charge, it will be directed radially inward, and its effect will be weaker in comparison to the electric field generated by a positive charge. This is because point M is located at greater distance from the negative charge. We will represent this weaker effect with a shorter arrow. Now, at the axial position, the net electric field, which we can also call E axial, will be equal to electric field generated by the positive charge minus electric field generated by a negative charge. We have already calculated both of these values. Thus, the expression becomes kq by x minus L square minus kq by x plus L square. Since kq is common, we can take it out. Simplifying further, the denominator becomes x minus L square multiplied by x plus L square, while the numerator simplifies to x plus L square minus x minus L square. If we expand the numerator using the identity a plus b whole square, the first term will be x square plus L square plus 2xl, and the second term using the identity a minus b square will be x square plus L square minus 2xl. And in the denominator, square is common, so we bring out the square, and the denominator will become the square of the product of x plus L and x minus L. And we know that the product of x plus L and x minus L can also be expressed as x square minus L square. Therefore, in the denominator, we will finally have a square of x square minus L square. Now, it is important to understand that in dipole, the distance between the two equal charges L is very small. Compared to the distance x at which we are calculating the electric field. Hence, we can neglect the term L square. After neglecting it, the denominator will left with x to the power 4. Now, if we expand the numerator by opening the brackets, we will have an equation in the following form. Here x square and L square will easily become 0, and we will be left with the term 2xl plus 2xl, which simply add up to 4xl. If we express 4 as 2 multiplied by 2 and multiply it with kq, we will have 2ql. And we know that 2ql represents the dipole moment, whose direction is taken from the negative charge toward the positive charge of a dipole. If we cancel out the x, the final equation for the electric field at the axial position of the dipole will be 2kp by x cube. We can represent it in vector form as follows. Now, if we discuss the direction of the electric field at the axial position, E axial will align with the direction of the dipole moment. This is because at point M, the electric field generated by the positive charge is more dominant, resulting in the net effect E axial being outward. Or in other words, can be said that in the same direction as that of dipole moment. Okay, let's now proceed to the second case and determine the magnitude of the electric field at point M, which is located at a perpendicular distance x from the center of the dipole. This position is also known as equatorial position. In this scenario, we observe that point M is equidistant from both the positive and negative charge. It is positioned at the same distance r and angle theta from each charge. It is important to note that the magnitude of both charges in a dipole is equal, with one being positive and the other negative. Knowing this, we can say that due to the positive and negative charges at point M, the magnitude of electric field will be the same. However, due to the positive charge, the electric field at point M will be radially outward, while due to the negative charge, the electric field will be radially inward. The lengths of both arrows will be the same because their magnitudes are the same. Now, we can split the electric field E of the positive charge into vertical and horizontal components. In this case, since horizontal line is parallel to the dipole, the horizontal component will form same angle theta with the electric field E due to the positive charge. We also know that the vertical component will be E sin theta, while the horizontal component can be represented as E cos theta. Similarly, the radially inward electric field of the negative charge will also have a vertical and horizontal components. By using alternate interior angles, we can deduce that the angle between the electric field E due to a negative charge and the horizontal component will also be theta. Thus, we have vertical component E sin theta and horizontal component E cos theta. Here we observe that horizontal components overlaps and can be added, resulting in 2E cos theta. However, the vertical components are opposite to each other and will be cancelled out. So, now that we have split both electric fields and cancelled out the vertical components, we are left with only 2E cos theta. This is our net electric field at the equatorial position, which we can represent as E perpendicular. Now, we can equate this to 2E cos theta, where E is equal to kq by r square. Using the Pythagoras theorem, we know that in a right angle triangle, r square equals x square plus L square. Let's substitute this value into our equation. Additionally, we can express cos theta as L by r and r as the square root of x square plus L square. After substituting these values, we find that the denominator becomes x square plus L square to the power 3 by 2. Simplifying the equation further, we get E equatorial equal to 2kql by x square plus L square to the power 3 by 2. In this equation, we recognize that 2ql represents the dipole moment, which we can denote as P. Since L square is much smaller compared to x, we can neglect it. After cancelling out the power 2 in the denominator, we are left with x cube in the denominator. Hence, the final equation for E equatorial is Kp by x cube. If we write it in vector form, it can be expressed as follows. And when it comes to direction, in this case, the direction of the net electric field is opposite to the direction of the dipole moment, which we represent with a negative sign in vector form. Therefore, the final equation for E equatorial is equal to minus Kp by x cube. Okay, before we discuss the third case, let's understand the direction of the net electric field at different positions in a simple way. The direction of net electric field can be determined simply by placing a positive test charge at different positions. In the axial position, the positive test charge will experience a force in the direction of the dipole moment. However, if we place it in the equatorial position, it will experience a force in the opposite direction of the dipole moment. Similarly, if we place the positive test charge on the left side of the negative charge, meaning in another axial position, this time the positive test charge will experience a greater influence of the negative charge. It will again feel a force in the direction of the dipole moment, indicating that the direction of the net electric field aligns with the dipole moment. From this analysis, we can conclude that the direction of the net electric field at the axial position of an electric dipole is taken along the dipole moment. Furthermore, if we consider point M as the opposite of the previous equatorial position, the positive charge of the dipole will push the positive test charge away with a radially outward electric field, while the negative charge will pull it with the radially inward electric field. Once again, the resultant electric field will be in the exact opposite direction of the dipole moment. Hence, we can say that at the equatorial position, the direction of the electric field is opposite to the dipole moment. Apart from all these calculations, this fact can be understood solely through the electric field of the dipole. We know that the direction of the electric field essentially indicates the direction in which a positive test charge would move if placed in that field. So the electric field of the dipole shows that if a positive test charge is placed at the equatorial position, the electric field of the dipole will cause it to move in the opposite direction of the dipole moment. On the other hand, if it is placed at the axial position, it will move along the dipole moment, which shows that direction of the net electric field will be along the dipole moment in the axial position. Let's now discuss the third and final case, in which point M is neither in the axial position nor in the equatorial position. In other words, this time we need to determine the net electric field at a point in space. Here point M is located at a distance x in space, where the line joining point M and the center of dipole forms an angle theta with the axis of the dipole. At this time, we need to split the dipole moment. One component of the dipole moment will be along the line joining the center O of the dipole and point M, which will be equal to p cos theta. The other component will be perpendicular to this line and will be equal to p sin theta. Since we have created two new dipoles, p cos theta and p sin theta, by splitting the dipole moment, we can now forget the previous dipole. Okay, now we have two dipoles, and the important thing to understand here is that for the dipole p cos theta, the point M lies on the axis of the p cos theta, which means it is in the axial position. So at point M, the dipole p cos theta will create an axial electric field E axial along the direction of p cos theta. On the other hand, if we consider the dipole p sin theta, the same point M lies in a position perpendicular to the center of the p sin theta, meaning it is in the equatorial position. Therefore, equatorial will be just opposite to the p sin theta. So now, at our point M, we have two electric fields. The first one is E axial due to the dipole p cos theta along the axis, and the second one is equatorial for the dipole p sin theta in the equatorial position. We need to calculate the net effect of both electric fields at point M. So we had previously calculated the formula for E axial, which had a magnitude of 2 kp by x cube. The important thing to understand here is that at this moment, the electric field axial is not due to the entire dipole P, but rather due to the component P cos theta. So we will replace P with P cos theta, and the electric field at point M due to P cos theta will be equal to 2kP cos theta by x cube. Similarly, we had also calculated the equation for equatorial, which was kp by x cube. However, in this case, the dipole moment P is not applicable at point M, but rather P sin theta in the equatorial position. Hence, we will replace P with P sin theta. Therefore, the electric field at point M due to P sin theta will be equal to kp sin theta by x cube. Now, we know that the net electric field at point M will be simply the vector sum of E axial and E equatorial, which will be equal to the square root of E axial square plus E equatorial square. Now, let's substitute the values of E axial and E perpendicular into the equation for E net. The term kp by x cube to the whole square can be taken outside of the bracket, leaving us with 2 cos theta whole square plus sin theta square inside the bracket, bringing the kp by x cube to the whole square outside of square root. The equation becomes kp by x cube into root of 2 cos theta whole square plus sin theta square, where square of 2 cos theta will be 4 cos square theta. Simplifying further, 4 cos square theta can be expanded as 3 cos square theta plus cos square theta, which simplifies to cos square theta plus sin square theta, which equals to 1. Thus, the final equation for the net electric field is kp by x cube into root of 1 plus 3 cos square theta. To determine the direction of the net electric field, we need to calculate the angle alpha between E net and E axial. This angle can be found using the tangent of alpha, which is equal to E perpendicular divided by E axial. Substituting the values of E axial and E equatorial, we can simplify the equation to sin theta by 2 cos theta, which can be further simplified to 1 upon 2 tan theta. This equation gives us the value of angle alpha. However, the question is, at what angle does the net electric field lie with respect to the axis of the dipole? To understand this, let's assume a line parallel to the dipole axis passing through the point M. Now, we can understand that the angle between E axial and the dipole axis is also theta. In other words, the exact inclination of the net electric field with respect to the dipole axis is theta plus alpha. By determining the inclination of net electric field at any point with respect to the dipole moment, we can find the direction in which the net electric field points. Please note that this is general case that allows us to find intensity of the electric field at any point around the dipole. For example, in the derivative formula for electric field intensity, if we place theta as 90 degrees, then 3 cos square theta will become 0, as cos 90 equals to 0. We would obtain the same equation as the one derived for the equatorial position. Similarly, if we apply the same formula to find the electric field in the axial position, we simply place point M on the axial position and set theta equals to 0 degrees. When we substitute 0 degrees into the formula, cos 0 equals to 1, resulting in square root of 4. Hence, we obtain the same equation as the one derived in the beginning of the video for the electric field intensity in the axial position. By remembering this general formula, we can apply it to any other case as well. Apart from this, we observed that the electric field intensity of a dipole is inversely proportional to the cube of the distance x between the center of the dipole and the point M. In other words, as we move farther away from the dipole, the electric field of the dipole decreases more rapidly compared to the electric field of a point charge. This is because the electric field of a point charge is inversely proportional to the square of the distance. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching.